Dear remote viewing audience, we have some 35,000 people subscribed to our blog and our remote viewing website right now. But how many of you really know just what remote viewing actually is? Well, I just received the results of a survey I put out a few weeks ago, and I was absolutely stunned. Over 50% of you said you didn't understand remote viewing well enough to apply it in your lives. And if you don't believe me, go ahead to the blog, learnremoteviewing.com, and download the PDF of the survey. So can you see why I might be a little disturbed by this information? With over 50% of our subscribers not actually understanding remote viewing, I feel like there isn't really much point in doing all these interviews if you can't get the most out of them. And I really want you to be able to get the most out of remote viewing because it is such a powerful tool with such amazing implications in your day-to-day life. I know that if you had a better picture of remote viewing, you'd be able to gain far more from the interviews and you'd be able to actually start applying this in your lives. So before I do any more interviews, let me explain to those who aren't quite sure just exactly what remote viewing is and what it's not. As most of you know, remote viewing had its roots at the Stanford Research Institute. It was pioneered by amazing minds such as Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff. It was later funded by the CIA. Their reasoning? They wanted to find a way to be able to perceive information on the Soviets and their military strategy. The CIA had learned that the Soviets were using psychic spies to gain information on the United States, and the CIA wanted to find a way to counter that advantage. Remote viewing, they believe, might have been the answer. Remote viewing had some early successes. It was used to find a downed Soviet plane that had gone down in Africa. It was used to find people who had been kidnapped by a terrorist group called the Red Brigade in Italy. And it was used to some degree to perceive Soviet military constructions in the USSR. But what's truly amazing is that everyone, yes, everyone, is born with the ability to remote view. We see this on a daily basis, like when a phone rings and you know just who is on the other line, or when twins share an uncanny connection and are totally in tune to each other's emotions and thoughts. You might also get a sense of this by your own inner intuition towards your loved ones or your child. But until remote viewing, there was no absolute practical way to take advantage of this immense power. And no, you do not have to be some sort of psychic or have any special talent to remote view. You're not channeling, nor are you doing anything kooky or new age. This isn't the psychic ability you see in Hollywood flicks. In fact, it's steeped in scientific study. Remote viewing has been heavily studied, tested, refined, and proven. I know it sounds boring, but remote viewing is in fact extremely process-driven. And when done right, the information you receive can be life-changing. Remote viewers have used this art to discover their soulmate, fall in love, and live happily ever after. Some have used it to find the perfect investment vehicles in a sinking recession. Others have used it to locate lost family heirlooms. Others still to pinpoint the exact location of where they would want to build their dream house. The list goes on, but I'm sure you'll get the picture by now. Remote viewing has profound implications in your day-to-day life. So how does remote viewing work? Well, there are three layers of the human mind: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. The conscious mind is your day-to-day thoughts. It's essentially you. It's the thinking, feeling, acting, eating part of you. The subconscious mind, well, that's that part of you that allows you to govern your heartbeat and your breathing without you consciously paying attention to it. But the real fascinating bit is the superconscious mind. This is the part that most people are unaware of. What the early pioneers in remote viewing did was essentially find a way to allow you to tap into your superconscious mind, to retrieve information outside your physical connections. So what is the superconscious mind? It is that part of you that is tapped into collective intelligence. Collective intelligence, or as some people call it, the morphogenetic field, that was what Dr. Carl Jung called it, or higher intelligence, or life force, is that part of all living beings that we believe is connected. Some believe that the sum total of all human knowledge is stored in collective intelligence. And through techniques that allow you to tap into this collective intelligence, techniques such as remote viewing, all truth all information, all facts can be obtained, at least to some degree. So think of the collective intelligence as a giant database that you can download information from. And with practice and discipline, you'll be able to access this database and find information on any person, place, thing, or event, regardless of time or space. A universe of information is literally at your fingertips. Pretty cool when you think about it. But just how do you take information from the collective intelligence and bring it to the conscious level? Well, all you need are 4 things: a pencil, some paper, a target, and your focused attention. With remote viewing, you use a series of protocols to allow you to guide your mind through a series of steps to obtain information through the collective intelligence. It can take time. A good session can last anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes. But the longer it takes, the more information comes in and the more accurate might be your output. With practice, these remote viewing protocols will anchor themselves in your head, and it becomes easier and easier for you to apply remote viewing. Your readings start to become more accurate and more reliable. With all the amazing benefits of remote viewing, it's a surprise that so many still associate this with the military and espionage. But that, we believe, is a thing of the past. Remote viewing, as it's going mainstream, is opening up a whole new world of possibilities to people who practice it. So I urge you to share your stories of how remote viewing has benefited your life. Share them in the comments below this video. Help us break the stereotypes. We'd like to take these stories, assemble them, and share them with other people like you who are enthusiastic about bringing the science of remote viewing to more and more people. Just imagine, one day, tapping into the collective unconscious to obtain information outside your physical senses might be just as widespread as the use of the internet.